Speed up your metabolism. The key to losing fat and gaining muscle, performing better at the gym, and having more energy in your daily life. And in this video, I'm going to explain a bit about how to do it and how I managed to lose over 30 kilos of fat while gaining more than 15 kilos of muscle mass, and how I do it with hundreds of people. So I won't keep you any longer. I'm going to show you directly the key points that helped me achieve this. I'm achieving it with more people, and you will achieve it too. First, you need to understand that speeding up your metabolism will make you burn much more fat at rest, even while lying on the couch, since your body will burn many more calories just to perform its vital functions. Therefore, it will be much easier for you to lose fat without feeling hungry or anxious about food at any time of the day, which ultimately should be the goal of speeding up your metabolism. To achieve this, you need to take several factors into account. Let's start with the first one, which is to always prioritize strength training over any other type, like cardio, etc. Why? Because with strength training, you will increase your muscle mass, and the more muscle mass you have, the more calories your body will burn at rest. That's a bit of what I mentioned to you earlier. And to increase muscle mass, we do it through strength training. That's why it's super important for you to focus on this type of training, and especially on making progress with the weights over time. What does this mean? Well, for example, if you go to the gym and do a bicep curl with 10 kilos for 10 repetitions, the next week try to do 11 repetitions with 10 kilos, then 12 the following week, and keep lifting more and more weight each time. That means you will be gaining muscle mass and therefore speeding up your metabolism. For me, this is the key foundation that should be in every plan for someone who wants to speed up your metabolism by gaining muscle mass and also losing fat. So focus on this, and now we'll talk about cardio. Because no, you can't just leave cardio aside or abandon it. Second, keep your protein intake high. What does this mean? It means consuming between 1.8 and 2.2 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight. I'll make it easy for you. Let's say, for example, 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. If you weigh 80 kilos, then you should consume about 160 grams of protein per day, approximately between 150 and 170. That would be perfect. Why should you do this? Well, to recover from your workouts, your muscles use protein, among other things. So you need to provide yourself with daily protein in order to recover from your workouts, so your muscles can recover, and little by little, as I mentioned in the previous section, you can lift more weight, move more load, and generally gain muscle mass. This is something super important that a lot of people get wrong because they don't really keep track of what they eat, not that it's necessary, but they don't prioritize protein. So this is where a problem arises. Prioritize protein. It's not necessary to go crazy taking protein powder, but you should try to meet your daily protein requirements to achieve your goal. Third, when we want to lose fat and gain muscle mass by speeding up our metabolism, we need to maintain a slight calorie deficit. And you might ask yourself, why do I need to have a slight calorie deficit and not just eat a lot fewer calories? Well, this is very simple, because the body needs resources to build muscle mass. In the end, you have to keep in mind that it's a tissue the body has to create from scratch, and it's very energy intensive. So if you give it very few calories, in other words, very little food, very little energy, it won't have enough calories or energy to build the muscle mass you're aiming for while also losing fat. So to achieve a sustainable and noticeable change over time, it's much more effective if, for example, you burn 2,000 calories and eat 1,800, a slight deficit of 200 calories, while at the same time in the gym, you keep lifting more and more weight. This way, your body has enough energy to build muscle while also losing fat. If, for example, you ate only 1,300 calories, yes, you would lose weight, but a large part of that loss would be muscle mass. So you'll end up with that typical body that's skinny, but also a bit fat, with no muscle tone at all, and it'll be a complete mess. Yes, you'll lose weight faster, but it's not sustainable, and you won't end up looking the way you want. So it's much more worthwhile to do a phase of 3, 4, 5, or 6 months with a slight calorie deficit while gaining muscle mass, rather than trying to do it in a month or a month and a half by cutting a lot of calories, because then when you go back to eating normally, you'll rebound, you'll gain more weight, more fat, and you'll end up worse than you were before, even with less muscle mass. So don't rush, maintain a slight calorie deficit, and focus intensely on improving your strength training at the gym. This is the only thing that will guarantee you can speed up your metabolism, lose fat, and build muscle mass. Otherwise, you won't achieve it. Fourth, what I mentioned to you a bit in the first point, cardio. No, you can't neglect it even if you have to prioritize strength training. And now I'll explain why. The thing is, when you're trying to speed up your metabolism, you want your body to be burning a lot of calories so you can eat a lot of calories. And for that, strength training alone isn't enough. Because yes, obviously strength training burns calories, but it doesn't burn as much as cardio does. So what I recommend is that you do strength training and then follow it up with a cardio session. I'm not saying you should run or swim 20 kilometers. If you like doing that, go ahead, that's fine. But if you don't like it, don't force yourself, because first, it won't be sustainable and you'll want to quit. And second, that wear and tear caused by cardio will make it harder for you to recover from strength training, and what we want is to do a strength workout, recover for the next strength session, be able to perform and improve on your previous record. So if during that recovery period you do a lot of cardio and put your body through a lot, you won't recover your muscles enough to perform well in your next strength workout. So you can't just ignore it because you want to burn calories and keep your body active, but you also shouldn't prioritize it or go overboard. A good starting point would be, for example, to try to walk between 8 and 12,000 steps a day, whether that's as part of your daily routine, moving around at work, walking to work, or doing it on the treadmill after the gym. That's perfect. If, for example, you usually drive somewhere and you can walk instead, then you can swap driving for walking. That would be perfect. This way, you'll increase your daily steps, your daily movement, and it will be much easier for you to speed up your metabolism. So don't go crazy with cardio, but don't neglect it either. And purely for cardiovascular health, it's also highly recommended, not just for this. So it's gonna be good for you in every way to stay active with those 8 to 12,000 steps a day. Based on that, you can see how you feel, your level of tiredness, and adjust accordingly, etc. But you can't leave it aside. Fifth, hire a professional, because this will save you many years of effort, many years of frustration, of not knowing what you're doing wrong, of not seeing results, of wanting to give up on everything, give up on yourself, and give up on your own health. However, if you hire someone to help and guide you through this process, you will see consistent results, your motivation will stay higher, and you will achieve both your physical goals and your health goals. So, you'll be winning on all fronts instead of going it alone, stumbling around blindly without knowing what to do, thinking you're doing things right, which will only lead to frustration because you believe you're doing well but don't see results. In reality, you might be making mistakes you're not even aware of, because ultimately you're not a professional in this field and there are many things you don't know, don't control, or think are correct, but actually aren't, since they're based on a myth you heard a long time ago. So, the best thing is always to hire a professional, get it done, see results, and save yourself from frustration. If you want me to help you in your process, as I showed you at the beginning of the video, with myself over the past few years, and as I'm doing with hundreds of people in a completely personalized way with one-on-one contact with me, I will program your training perfectly based on your context. That is the days you can train, the time you have, absolutely everything, and also regarding your nutrition. As I'm telling you, this is truly what you should do if you're looking for a real change and want to transform your physique, your life, your mindset, because this will save you a lot of time and frustration. I'm leaving my website, albertomareque.com, here in the description so you can access the link, and there you can tell me a bit more about your goals, about your situation, so I can contact you personally via WhatsApp and we can get started with the coaching. So that's it. I'll be waiting for you. Subscribe to the channel. There will be many more videos that will help you a lot, and leave a like.